Welcome to our top 3 time management tips for artists and creatives. You know, one of the biggest mistakes artists make is to underestimate the time it takes to create their art. You get inspired, you start working on a project, and then your time gets hijacked, you get overwhelmed. It's part of life. And one of the key things you've got to realize is that to be an artist means you're an entrepreneur. My wife covers this in her online Catalyst course, and you can check that out. I'll put a link down below if you're interested. But what I mean by that is you have to take seriously this is a business. You have to manage your time, manage your energy, manage your resources. And that's what I want to talk to you about today in these top 3 tips for time management for artists and creatives. Hi, I'm Joel Pelsu, President of Arts and Entertainment Ministries. We mentor artists and creative professionals to succeed creatively and grow spiritually. We've worked with all kinds of artists and creatives for over 25 years. We want to help you to become the artist you're called to be, at the same time becoming the man or woman God has designed you to be. And before the 3 tips, I just want to crush one particular myth that holds far too many creatives back. And I found a wonderful analysis of this myth in TWYLA THARP's book, The Creative Habit. And she describes how artists in the Romantic period embraced this belief that all creative acts came from being touched by some muse or mysterious divine being. You didn't need to sit down and work at your craft every day. What you needed was to wait around and to be inspired. But consider the problem here. If you believe your art comes from a muse, then you'll stop placing all the value you need to on talent, training, and discipline. The true building blocks of becoming a great artist. So TWYLA THARP makes it clear, stop looking for a muse and start getting serious about what it really takes to succeed. If you're a Christian, this also applies to your spiritual life. You don't become more loving and more Christ-like by merely experiencing God's presence in a worship service or having great devotions. Those are important, but we're called to be disciples who work hard to love our neighbors as ourselves and adopt habits in our life that help us become less selfish and more like Christ. The benefits of living this way are massive, but we need to count the cost and take these things seriously. Now, before we continue, just take a second, please. Hit the like button, subscribe. You know what it's all about. Help other people find our channel. Now, back to the top 3 time management tips for artists and creatives. The very first tip is to prioritize. All work or art is not created equal. There are tasks that are important, and you need to ask yourself, what are the creative projects that will generate the greatest return on your time? And the 3 questions to ask yourself are, what project, if completed this year, would make the biggest difference in your career? Take time to write this down. What projects, if finished, would give you the greatest sense of accomplishment or confidence in your career to go and attack other projects? And third, what projects would most closely align with what God has called you to do as His child and as a creative who longs to honor God? So take time, think through those 3 questions and really process this. If you're going to create something really exceptional, you need to protect the time it takes for you to prepare, to plan, and to finish that project. And deadlines are helpful, but ideas need time to germinate and ruminate. So don't just run ahead and try to block everything in. You need to plan for this. And this is different than the idea of a muse. It's more about giving your imagination and your mind time to mull over the project, consider how to really make that unique contribution to society that only you can make. And let's give the most important projects a name. Let's call them lead projects, because they're the ones that lead the way and create momentum in your career. And we see this principle even in the book of Proverbs. A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before the great. Some translations have the wording of you will perform before kings. So the idea is that you will perform before the top people in the world. Your art will be sold to them. You'll be recognized by the people with resources who influence culture. And that's a great honor for God to do that with your art. But it's not going to happen if you're not loving God with all your heart, mind, and soul and strength as you create that work of art. And the simple truth is this. If you don't prioritize them, they don't get done. Or at least they will take far more time than they should. Remember, email is always there. The rest of your to-do list will never be completed, and it's never going to get finished. You must prioritize and stay focused. Second, you have to ritualize. Let's face it, your willpower is not enough. It is a limited resource. So don't overload your willpower or your energy by creating dozens of individual unrelated goals. One of the great books on this recently is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And he makes a great, well-researched case that the greatest progress comes not through large changes, but through smaller changes in our habits and by what he calls stacking habits. And the easier it is, the more likely you are to continue to do it. So maybe start with only 1 or 2 new habits, but stack them together so one follows the next, and it creates a new ritual. Like every time you go to open your laptop, don't just check email first. If you're a writer, just write 500 words or 1,000 words first thing. Don't let your mind be distracted, but create that habit. The instant you open your laptop, this is what I do. The instant I go in the studio, I'm not going to check mail. I'm not going to check bills. I'm going to paint. I'm going to write. I'm going to shoot. So that you develop this habit that's the most productive, that gets you in the mode, that encourages you and gives you momentum into the day. So stack those habits. Grab the coffee, do the paint. Grab the coffee, shoot this. Or grab the tea if you don't like coffee. Whatever it is, you need to reinforce what you ritualize. So it's kind of a compounding dynamic here. How do you reinforce it? The key is to building in your daily rhythm positive feedback. And the best-selling author and designer Seth Godin talks about this. The best way to change long-term behavior is not with long goals. It's short-term feedback. And Seth is genius at this. So once you take the time to establish what your daily rhythm is for writing, painting, designing, or creating whatever content you create, keep a visual record of how many days in a row you've kept it up. This provides a healthy feedback loop to encourage you and show you the progress you're making. Most of us don't have a coach or a teacher encouraging us along the way, but our hearts desire affirmation. That's why community is so important. I also want to encourage you to sign up for our newsletter and get connected with our ministry. Going alone is not the way to do this. Some of us just need a little encouragement, while others need more encouragement. But whatever the case, keep a journal to reinforce the things you're starting to ritualize. After a few days in a row, most people become more motivated to keep that winning streak going. I want to write 1,000 words every day for 10 days, for 20 days, for 30 days, or paint a new painting, or shoot 10 minutes of video, whatever it is you're doing. See, God wired us to desire feedback. In the Bible, it's often called a benediction. Just as we want a Father in heaven who is pleased with us, we also want a community to be rejoicing over our successes right along with us. And it isn't pride, it's called being human. If you're obsessed with affirmation, that's a different story. But the basic desire for affirmation is part of how God made you. The third tip is to calendarize. To be healthy and productive, you must guard your heart and guard your time. To-do lists were fine when we were young. We had no obligations. But in today's world, they don't cut it. You can't win the war. When distractions on social media, streaming movies, and cell phone notifications never cease to plead for your attention. Your to-do list is no match. If you do not put your priorities on the calendar and protect your time and realize that no one else is going to protect it for you, you're just not going to win this war. Next time you write a to-do list, acknowledge you aren't finished until the most important items are on the calendar. Include your projects along with new habits and rituals that you are trying to create, that you're developing. And put down your time to create, time to spend with your family, time to eat, time to pray. Those things need to be in your calendar. If it isn't on the calendar, it will be the first to be forgotten. So don't let a week go by where you aren't developing your craft, growing your audience, or investing in your spiritual health and in relationships. Now, if you really want to get on top of your career and get all the tools and help you need, check out our free Catalyst MasterClass. It's taught by my wife. I'll put a link down below. She gives so many tips. She's been doing this for years, mentoring artists all around the country. You'll be equipped and challenged, and it's also very encouraging. Just to recap, 3 top time management tips for you as a creative or as an artist. First is prioritize. Second is ritualize. And third is calendarize. So tell me in the comments below what kind of art you do and which of these 3 are the most helpful for you right now. What are you going to do right now? Are you going to prioritize those lead projects, calendarize, or create new rituals? What's most helpful? Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. And again, please take a moment, hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, all those great things, and check the links down below to learn about our online courses, that Entrepreneurial Catalyst Masterclass, our website, and subscribe to our emails. I'll see you next time. God bless.